be here this evening. Could I get some water just to put? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Manachari Yamunatira Yamunatira Manachari Yamuna Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha. Thank you. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanand Yamunatira Vanachari Yamuna Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parvrajagacharya Asatara Satyasri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai, Mathura Dhama Ki Jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai, Gangamaya Jamuna Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesu Sunyavadi Paskachade Shatarane Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Vanchakalpajubhischa Kripasindhaviyavata Patitanam Pavanavyo Vaishnavavyo Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it's the 7th of June, 2026, in Hillsborough, North Carolina, New Goloka. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 74, Text 26. Shrutva Dvijeritam Raja Gnatfahardam Shabasadam Samarhaya Drishikesham Prita Pranaya Vivala. Please chant. Shrutva Vijeritam Raja Gnatva Sabasadam Samarhaya Drishikesham Prita Pranaya Vihala. Shrutva Dvijeritam Raja Gnatva Shabasadam Samarhaya Drishikesham Prita Pranaya Vivala. Shrutva Dvijeritam Raja Gnatva Sabasadam Samarhaya Drishikesham Prita Pranaya Vivala. Shrutva, hearing, Dvija, by the Brahmanas, Iritam, what was pronounced, Raja, the king Yudhisthira, Gnatva, understanding, Hardam, the inner thoughts, Sabda Sadam, the members of the assembly, Samarhayat, fully worshipped, Rishikesham, Lord Krishna, Pritaha, please, Pranaya, by love, Vivalaha, overwhelmed. So this is Rajasuya deciding who to worship first, and Sahadev said they should worship Krishna, and the Dvijas, the twice-born members of the assembly, all said, yes, yes, we agree with Sahadev. So that's what's coming before this verse. BBT translation. The king was delighted to hear this pronouncement of the Brahmanas, from which he understood the mood of the entire assembly. Overwhelmed with love, he fully worshipped Lord Krishna, the master of the senses. Prabhupada's translation from Krishna book. King Yudhisthira, after hearing the confirmation by all present, especially by the Brahmanas and learned sages, worshipped Lord Krishna according to the regulated principles of the Vedic injunctions. So there's no BBT purport. I'm going to look at the commentary of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, which is a little humorous. Hearing the Brahmana's pronouncement, Dvija iritam, sadhu sadhu iti, excellent, excellent. Yudhisthira understood that the assembly approved, so he worshipped Krishna. A messenger from Yudhisthira said, quote, my dear Lord Krishna, now you are absorbed in the duty of washing everyone's feet, which you have taken upon yourself. But the king wants to demonstrate the truth, being very eager to wash the feet of you, who are worthy of worship by all, including Brahma and Shiva. Therefore, please quickly go there. Yudhisthira then worshipped Rishikesham, Krishna, the attractor of all his senses, by bathing his feet. In loving anger, Krishna protested, "No, don't do this, don't do this." So if you kind of picture the scene, right, at the Rajasuya Yajna, Krishna took the job of washing all the feet of all of the guests. Right? We know Jesus also did that, right? He washed the feet of his disciples and so forth. So Krishna's washing the feet. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says Krishna's busy washing the feet while this discussion is going on. Who should we worship first? And Krishna's still there washing the feet. And Sahadev gives all these reasons why Krishna should be worshipped first. And then the Dvijas say, yes, yes. Sadhu, sadhu iti. Yes, yes. Very good, very good. So then Yudhisthira says, go get Krishna. Tell him we have to worship him. So the messenger goes to tell Krishna, my dear Krishna, Yudhisthira wants you to stop the foot washing business and come and get worshipped. And Krishna's coming, we're going to wash your feet. Krishna says, no, don't wash my feet. I'm busy. Like sometimes someone's in the kitchen cooking or they're washing the pots and we call them into the assembly to glorify them, correct? Right? Usually in the assembly we're glorifying the main speakers and the organizers and then bring the pot washer. So that's like that. Srila Sanatana Goswami's commentary. Hearing what the Brahmanas or the three upper classes Dvija said, the king understood the agreement, hardam, of the others in the assembly. Or he understood the affection, hardam, for Krishna. So Srila Sanatana Goswami is saying hardam can mean the agreement or the affection. He was pleased since his desires were fulfilled. So Yudhisthira wanted to do this Rajasuya in order to please Krishna. That was his motive, as he originally said to Krishna himself. Going on, overwhelmed with love, he worshipped Krishna completely. Krishna as Antaryami, Rishikesham, so Sanatana Goswami is saying Rishikesham means Antaryami, the inner controller. Now he's giving two different meanings of referring to Krishna as Rishikesham. So his first one is, Krishna as Antaryami, Rishikesham, had inspired the Brahmanas in order to please the king. So the Lord in the heart, the master of the senses, had inspired the Brahmanas, agree. This way Yudhisthira will be pleased. Or, Srila Sanatana Goswami is saying, another meaning, though overcome with, and I really like this one, it's really interesting, although overcome with prema, he worshipped Krishna because he was able to control his senses by the mercy of Krishna, Rishikesham. So this is a very interesting sentence. He's giving, again, two meanings of the word Rishikesham. One, Rishikesham is acting within the twice born to encourage them to agree to worship Krishna. And the other is that Rishikesham, Krishna, is controlling the senses of Maharaj Yudhisthira. So even though he's full of pranaya, even though he's full of love, he's able to do his work. Have you ever had that question? Well, if I really fall in love with Krishna, how will I function? Have any of you ever wondered that? That you read in the Shastra about the devotees, they're so overwhelmed with prema, they're dancing like madmen, and they're, correct? And we see Mahaprabhu in his later pastimes. He didn't act like this when the devotees were there from Bengal, but when they went back to Bengal, he's acting like a madman. He wasn't very functional. Right? Recently, Hari Parshapu was talking about how we should always be in samadhi, and I said, how does one be in samadhi while one's working in the world? How do you do that? So here's a good answer to that question. Although a person is totally in samadhi, totally in prema, they're feeling all of the manifestations, they're crying, they're shivering, they're perspiring, they're being stunned, all these things. And how are they going to do their service? Remember that story in Nectar Devotion where Daruka, he wants to fan the Lord, but his ecstasy's interfering, and he's like, I need to focus on my service. So it says here, Krishna will take control of the senses of the devotee, so the devotee doesn't have to sacrifice their ecstasy to do service, and they don't have to sacrifice their service because they're in ecstasy. So Maharaj Yudhisthira's both being in ecstasy and doing his service by the actions of Rishikesha. Shutva Dvijer itam raja gnatva hardam sabhasadam samarhayam drishikesham prita pranaya vivala. The king was delighted to hear this pronouncement of the Brahmanas, from which he understood the mood of the entire assembly. Overwhelmed with love, he fully worshiped Lord Krishna, the master of the senses. So here's Maharaj Yudhisthira's desire. His desire is that he's a Kshatriya, and he wants to rule, he wants to protect people, he wants to take care of the kingdom, and he wants to do it for Krishna. He wants to show, Maharaj Yudhisthira had said to Krishna before starting this Rajasuya, he said, I want to show how those who worship you work in the world successfully. I want to show that. I want to show that example of proper working in the world in devotion. And now he's getting this desire fulfilled. He's having this Rajasuya, and he's being able to show in the Rajasuya that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, that Krishna should be first. And it's not coming from him. He's not the one saying, I want Krishna to be first. Sahadeva is saying it, and then everyone is agreeing. So they're validating his own desire. So all of us have some way that we want to be, correct? We all have some desire, what we would like to do, what we would like to do for others, what we would like to do to help the world, to improve the world. Isn't that correct? Does everyone have some way that they'd like to contribute in life? That they'd like to be able to say, this is what I did in life. That when, as we're ready to die, we can say, this is something that I've made some contribution. I've made some kind of contribution. I haven't just been, eating and sleeping and taking up energy. I've done something. So how do we do that the best way? How do we use our talents, our proclivities, our desires in the best way? So who do we offer everything to? We're going to offer everything to Rishikesh, the master of the senses. For whom? And how? We're going to do it hardam, as it says here. The word hardam is very interesting. From the heart with affection. And what is the result? The result here, interesting word, we have pranaya, which we're going to look deeply at the word pranaya. The result is going to be love. So, of course, you've noticed here that I'm looking at things in terms of sambandha, abhideya, and prayojana. Yes? Did anybody pick that up? So, sambandha for whom? Who's my basic relationship? Abhideya, how do I act in that relationship? Prayojana, what's the result of that relationship? So, for whom should I be working? We all have a tendency to think that I should be working according to my upadhis, according to my material designations. I know my mind is always inducing me like that. Are my family members happy with me? Are my friends happy with me? Am I happy with me? That I'm trying to please so many other people other than Krishna. Is my boss happy with me, or my employees happy, or my customers happy, or somebody that we're looking to please? And ultimately, is my mind happy? Am I satisfied? I think I am the master of my senses. All of my senses should be used to serve me, or I think they should be used to serve others in this world. My society, my country, or maybe some ideology. But the real master is Rishikesh. Isha means the controller. The real master is the controller of the senses. And it's very sweet, something that Srila Prabhupada says in the Bhagavad Gita, which is so relevant to us understanding how I'm really going to find the right person to serve. In text 15 of chapter 1 purport, so here Krishna is referred to in the verse as Rishikesh. And Prabhupada says that Lord Krishna is referred to Rishikesh in the verse because he's the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. Here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjuna, and thus his particular name of Rishikesh. Similarly, his name is Rishikesh because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So this is such a sweet concept that my senses, my eyes, my nose, my ears, my hands, my legs, they're part of Krishna's senses. Our acharyas talk about when Krishna says about the supersoul in the 13th chapter that his senses are spread everywhere. This means, it can mean many things, but one of the things it means is that it's spread everywhere through us. You know, sometimes the Christians will say, let me act as the hands of God. Let me act as the legs of God. I mean, here we're looking specifically at the Kshatriyas, who are identified as the arms of the Lord. One devotee friend of mine who's a detective in another country, he works with major crimes and counterterrorism. He says that his meditation when he's out apprehending criminals is, I'm acting as the arms of God. I'm doing the work of God. But all of us can think like that. How can I represent Krishna in the world? Just like generally I want my senses to represent me. But how can I have above me the Atma is the super soul. How can my senses represent Krishna? How can I walk for Krishna? How can I move things for Krishna? How can I see for Krishna? How can I hear for Krishna? How can I speak for Krishna? And this other point Prabhupada makes about Rishikesh giving direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Yesterday or the day before, I was hearing Prabhupada in a lecture say something really interesting. This is, he was saying that when, I'm sure you've heard that Prabhupada would say that the mother instructs the daughter-in-law through instructing the daughter. You've all heard that? Which can mean two things. It can mean that if you instruct your daughter, if all the mothers instruct their daughters, then the daughter-in-law you get will also have been instructed by her mother. It can mean that. But it can also mean the daughter-in-law may be living in the house of her mother-in-law, where there's also a daughter. And so in front of the daughter-in-law, the mother gives some instruction to her daughter, and the daughter-in-law can understand that, because it may be a little delicate to instruct your daughter-in-law directly. So Srila Prabhupada says that that this was just one of those wow moments for me, where he's saying that Krishna is always giving the devotees instruction from within. As Rishikesh is the master of the senses, as Antaryami, he's always giving, what does he say? Tesham eva nukam partam ahama gyanajam tamaha nasayam nyapabhavosto gyanadipena bashvata. Krishna is always giving instructions from within. So Prabhupada says if he's giving instructions externally, that's not for the benefit of the devotee, because the devotee is already getting instructions internally. When Krishna is speaking instructions, that's for the benefit of somebody else. So when Krishna is externally speaking to Arjuna his instructions, when Krishna is externally speaking his instructions to Uddhava, that's for us. Because he's already giving those instructions from within the heart to those devotees. They don't need to hear that instruction externally. We see in some of the writings of our acharyas, like I know in the Pearl pastime, when I was putting the boys to bed last night, they said they wanted to listen to the drama of the Pearl pastime. So the way it's explained is that Srimati Radharani and her associates, they're communicating what we would call telepathically. Obviously, it's something far beyond something that we would have in this world with some sort of subtle thing. But in other words, whatever Srimati Radharani is thinking, her associates immediately know. She doesn't have to speak. Whatever they're thinking, she knows. They have a connection. So Krishna in the heart, he's speaking to the devotees. So I thought this was such a sweet thing that Krishna is always speaking to the devotees. I also wanted to look at one of my favorite quotes about Rishikesh. This is from Bhagavad Gita 18:46. And I think this quote in the purport, well, the verse itself and the purport are really the key to how we can see our lives transcendentally. You know, we often get this question. It's up there with the top questions that I get asked all over the world by all different devotees. How do I know what Krishna wants me to do? How do I distinguish between my desire and what Krishna wants me to do? And often we look at what I want to do in this world, what I want to do in this life, what I want to accomplish, and we think, well, you know, that's just my desire. Or we talk to people a lot about acting according to their varna, acting according to their temperament, acting according to their nature, and people say, well, where does that come from? Why do I have this particular nature? And people will often say, well, if I become Krishna conscious, I don't have to worry about that nature anymore. It becomes irrelevant. But here in 1846, Krishna is saying, by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work, which is exactly what Maharaj Yudhisthira is doing. Do you all see how Maharaj Yudhisthira is doing this in today's verse in the Bhagavatam? He's doing his work, worshiping the Lord. I mean, quite literally. In this Rajasuya, he is literally worshiping the Lord externally. So, the second paragraph of that purport, Prabhupada says, and this is such a key point, everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesh, the master of the senses. Prabhupada wrote something very similar to Jayapataka Maharaj in a 72 letter, that everything is according to Krishna's plan, whatever is meant to be, I am doing that. So our particular nature, yes, we can say, my particular nature, I want to be a woodworker, I want to be a chef, I want to be a business person, I want to be a police officer, I want to be a teacher, that we could say that nature is the result of our previous life's desire and karma. That would be correct. But it's also the desire of the Lord, how he wants us to work in this world. And one should think like that. That Rishikesh, the master of the senses, is asking me to work in a particular way. This is coming from Rishikesh. Going on, the next sentence is, and by the result of the work in which he is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. Now, by the result of the work doesn't mean that I'm working in Maya and then finally when I get some result, I offer it to Krishna. The result is at every moment. How am I dealing with coworkers? How am I dealing with customers? How am I dealing with things? How am I dealing with my mind? At every moment, that should be offered to Krishna. Like you're making garlands for the Lord. You're not just offering the garland when you put it on the deity, correct? You're offering the garland with every flower. Am I correct? You're looking at every flower, and when you're cooking, you're not just offering the food when it goes on the altar on the plate. You're meditating at every moment how it's for Krishna. Am I correct? Right? I'm not just offering this class when I'm sitting here giving the class. I'm offering the class when I'm preparing for it, when I'm researching it, when I'm meditating on it, when I'm praying on it. Am I correct, those of you who preach? And the result is at each moment. You take the deity's towels and you wash them. You're not just offering it to Radha Golokananda when you put them back nice, clean, folded, ironed. You're offering it to Golokananda when you're putting it in the laundry bag, when you're taking it to the washing machine, when you're putting it in the washing. So when we say by the results at each moment, this is what Krishna has given me to do. Going on with this purport, if one thinks always in this way, always, not just at the end of an activity, but always in full Krishna consciousness, fully aware of Krishna, then by the grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. Again, is that this Rishikesh giving us knowledge in the heart. That is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 12:7, Tesham aham samudharta. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. That is the highest perfection of life. In whatever occupation one may be engaged, if he serves the Supreme Lord, he will achieve the highest perfection. So, of course, some occupations are forbidden. We're not supposed to be, butchers or brothel runners or something like that, or, work in alcohol dispensary. But other than sinful activities, anything that we do, any job we do, our situation with our family, our service in the temple, all of that should be done according to our nature and offered to the Lord. Now, offered how? What is the means of offering? And now we have this interesting word, hardam. So not officially offered, not just ritualistically offered. Krishna, this is for you. So the Sanskrit word hardam comes from harda, that means heart. And the suffix means full of or belonging to. So hardam can mean one who has a heart or full of heart or belonging to the heart. It often has to do with compassion, sincerity, and inner strength. So it was very nice. We just had Hari Parshad here, and he was speaking about Atashri Krishna Namadi Nabaved Grahimendriya Sevan Mukhe Hijivado Swayam Eva Sparachita. Sparat, one gets a vision of the Lord if there's seva, if there's a mood of seva, that what's material, our senses, Our senses are material. Everything we're working with is material. But as soon as we have this mood of service, as soon as we have this mood of affection, then everything becomes spiritualized. In Bhagavad Gita 4:24, where Krishna is saying that the person making the offering, the ingredients that are being offered, the offering itself, everything merges into transcendence. And Prabhupada writes in that purport, this is the secret of transforming matter into spirit. Really, there is nothing material. From Krishna's perspective, there's nothing material. Material means simply that I see things as being separate from Krishna. I see something as for my enjoyment rather than for Krishna's enjoyment. That's material. How does Krishna define Maya? Anything that appears to be of value without relationship to me, he explains in the Chatur Sloki. So how do I connect everything to Krishna? With affection. Whether it's our sadhana bhakti, our chanting, our japa, our chanting in Harinam, our worshiping the deity, our cooking in the kitchen, our cleaning the temple, our making the garlands, whether it's our taking care of our family, our giving our children a bath, our cleaning the floor in our house, our driving to the shop, whether it's our work, I'm working at a bank, I'm working in a school, I'm working wherever. If I'm thinking, I'm offering this to Rishikesh with affection, with my heart. So then what is the result of that? The result of that is pranaya. Now the word pranaya is a very, very interesting word. Prana is life, heart. Pranaya is it's a feeling of equality. So Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, for each of the 5 primary relationships with Krishna, each of the 5 primary rasas, he discusses degrees of intensity of love in each of the rasas. We can all understand that you can have a kind of love and then an intensity of that love. All of us have, I hope, all of us have friends, and we have different degrees of intensity of friendship with different friends. We don't have the same same amount of love for each of our friends. And we can have some friendship with someone where over time that intensity increases. So there's the friendship quality, and then there's the intensity of love. Mm-hmm. So each of the rasas has different levels and types of intensity. And Srila Rupa Goswami defines each of them. So pranaya is a certain type. It's not only a certain level of intensity, but it's a certain type of intensity. So pranaya means extreme possessiveness. Krishna is mine. Krishna is my master. Krishna is my friend. Krishna is my son. Krishna is my beloved. That transforms love, prema, into affection, sneha, which then progresses to raga, deep attachment. Beyond raga is pranaya, and its main symptom is deep faith. But also it has a symptom of a complete lack of reverential respect. Now that doesn't mean that someone is not respectful. We're respectful with our friends, but our very, very close friends, we may deal with them without superficial respect. Does everyone understand that? It's not that I don't respect them. If you're going to say, oh, Urmila, don't you have respect for your close friends? Well, of course I do. But don't we sometimes insult our very dear friends in playfulness, correct? Right? If someone's very, very close to you, you may insult them. Oh, you idiot, what are you doing that for? But it's playfulness. And like Arjuna said to Krishna, I've sat with you on the same seat. I've sat with you on the same bed. I've joked with you. So this feeling of relaxation with someone. It's where there's love without any touch of respect, although there are clear opportunities to show respect. Again, here by respect we mean reverence. Now, friendship is the rasa where this pranaya is very prevalent. And of course, Maharaj Yudhisthira has a relationship with Krishna, a friendship. So because the main feature of friendship is this sense of equality, pranaya appears even before prema for those in the mood of sakya ras. So generally pranaya is going to, so first there's going to be prema, then sneha, then raga, then pranaya. But for those in friendship, pranaya is going to come even before prema. This sense of equality, that you're my dear friend. And for Krishna's country friends in Vraja, this is absolute. For city friends like Maharaj Yudhisthira, sometimes there's a little bit of reverence. So sometimes the pranaya isn't absolute. Now, there's no pranaya in Shantaras and Dasyaras. In Shantaras, it's like, oh, there is the great God. Let me be in the presence of the great God. And in Dasya, it's all reverence. Even the more intimate Dasya, Gaurava Dasya, of Krishna's younger brothers and his sons-in-law and daughters-in-law and like that, even they have a lot of reverence. There is in Vatsalya, in parental mood, one feels superior to Krishna. Not just equal, but superior. And it's of course, in the Madhurya Bhav, there's also this pranaya, this sense of being equal, that I am your equal, I am your partner. So if we actually engage our senses in the service of Rishikesh, the master of the senses, then we take our work in our nature as given to us by God for a purpose. That whatever my nature is, whatever my tendencies, my talents, my proclivities, my desires, they're not just the result of some attachment of mine, but they're actually given to me by Krishna for some purpose of his. Even if you say, well, they originally came from my material desires. So I often give this example, like you might say to your family member or friend, hey, I'm going out to the grocery store. I'll be back in an hour. And they might say, hey, while you're there, can you get me some oranges? So Krishna's saying, okay, you have these desires, you have this nature from your previous life's karma. Can you do something for me with it? Can you use it for me? Can you accomplish something for me that I want to be accomplished in this world? And then our goal in life is very clear, that at every moment, always, the way I'm using my senses, my mind, should be for the pleasure of the master of the senses. But this should be a loving thing, not some kind of obligation. I mean, we know, Lord Kapila says that the wind is blowing out of fear of the Lord and so forth and so on. I mean, fear of the Lord, it says in the Bible, is the beginning of wisdom. Better to be scared of the Lord than to be a criminal. But Krishna doesn't want us working like that. Just like Mother Yasoda, when she's running after baby Krishna, when he steals the butter, and she's chasing after him with a stick, and then he starts crying. And then she's like, oh, I don't want him to be, I want him to learn, but I don't want him to be afraid of me. That won't be very good if he's just afraid of me. So Krishna would prefer that we're afraid of him than that we're criminals. But what he really wants is love. So we should be doing everything for the pleasure of Krishna with love, with affection, with a mood of service. And then what do we get? We're going to ourselves be full of this full love of God. We're going to be working always in ecstasy. Now, just like Maharaj Yudhisthira is working in ecstasy, which wasn't necessarily apparent to everybody, because Krishna was controlling his senses so he could still function externally. So even though we may still function externally in the world, and people may not be able to tell, right? You couldn't necessarily tell people going into Prabhupada's pharmaceutical business. They couldn't necessarily tell that inside he's full of all these ecstatic symptoms. They could see he was a religious man, a spiritual man. What does it say? We can never really understand the heart of a Vaishnava because they're full of all this ecstasies within. So we can do the work of the world in the world while being filled with transcendental ecstasy by the grace of Rishikesh. So this is our purpose of life. I'm connected with the Lord. Everything I do is given by Him. Everything I do is for Him with affection. And then I will achieve happiness beyond measure. I will achieve satisfaction beyond measure in full love of God. And maybe, depending on our desires, maybe even in a mood of pranaya. So questions, comments, additions, subtractions? Yes, Prabhu. Mm. Okay, so Dristapu was saying that in the beginning of the movement, we really had this, and it still exists many places, this misconception that if you're a pure devotee, you can do anything, you don't have to work according to your nature, and there's some truth to that. How do we get from here to there? Well, the truth to that, Prabhupada writes in Bhagavad Gita that if you're fully Krishna conscious, under the order of Guru, you can do anything and everything. He gives example of Vishvamrita Muni, who changed in one life from being a Kshatriya to a Brahmana, and Parasuram, who although was born in a Brahmana family, acted like a Kshatriya. Of course, neither of those examples are relevant for us. First of all, Parasuram is a Shaktivesh avatar. Second of all, if you look at the story of the payasa given to his grandmother, she was actually given payasa to produce a son who would be like a Kshatriya. At the example of Vishvamrita Muni, it took him 60,000 years with a lot of difficulty. So what we see in the example of the Shastras consistently is that even pure devotees act according to their nature. We see here as Maharaj Yudhisthira, he's acting as a Kshatriya for the pleasure of God. He's not acting as a Brahmana, he's not acting as a Vaishya, he's not acting as a Shudra, he's acting as a Grahastha Kshatriya, he's not acting like a sannyasi. And if you want to take the whole essence of the Bhagavad Gita, what is it about? Arjuna, take the nature you have and use it for me, but be transcendental to identifying with this nature. What we want to give up is the upadi of thinking, because I have this nature, this proclivity, I am that. I am not that. It's more like, what kind of car do you have? So, you can't drive a Honda the same way you drive a Tesla. It won't work that way. You can program a Tesla so you just touch the brake and then it holds. You can take your foot off the brake and it stays at the stop sign. You can't do that with a car that doesn't have that kind of programming. You'd roll through the stop sign and you'd have an accident. Right? Some cars you can just tell them, my dear car, now drive me home. And the car drives you home. But you can't talk to all the cars. It doesn't work. But you don't think that you're the car. So what we want to come to is thinking, I'm not this body, I'm not this nature, I have this, I'm using it for Krishna. That's how we get there. Sarvapadi Vinir Muktam Tad Partena Nirmala Rishikesha. Again, we have Rishikesha, Rishikena Sevana Bhakti Ruchite. I'm not male, I'm not female, I'm not old, I'm not young, I'm not American, I'm not Indian, I'm not Peruvian, I'm not Brazilian, I'm not any of these things. I'm not a Brahmin, I'm not a Kshatriya, I'm not a Vaishya, not a Shudra, not a sannyasi, not a Vanaprastha, not a anything. Not any of these things. I'm part of Krishna. And by the will of the Lord, everyone should think that he's engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesh, the master of the senses. By the will of God, I've gotten this particular body in this life, this particular nature. Let me see how I can use it for him while identifying myself with Krishna in the spiritual world. Externally acting in the world as if I were part of this world, but internally identifying myself as Krishna's servant. I call this the secret agent principle. You have your cover identity, but actually you're working for your government to collect secrets from the enemy. But apparently you're there as a car salesman or something, but actually you have a different identity. Is that all right? Anything good in this presentation is from Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas in the Shastra. Any mistakes are mine. Please correct or leave aside the mistakes and take the good. And maybe someone can fix that clock. That would be helpful. Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalaya Taksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Asa Sakalen Priyaviti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Mohan 38 Dina Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan Jamuna Keshigata Bamsi Bhata Dvada Sakanan Jasa Balila Koilo Sri Nandananda Sri Nanda Jasoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan Shridamadi Jaya Jaya Denuvatsagan Jaya Prishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Virnagari Jaya Jaya Gopishwara Vrindavanamad Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakha Bhatu Dvijaraj Jaya Rama Gata Jaya Rohini Nandan Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jan Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Naga Bhakti Tejahara Pailo Govinda Charan Shirasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarvamanaram Jaya Jaya Jwala Rasa Sarva Rasa Sar Parakiya Bhave Jaha Prajate Prachar Shri Janavapada Padma Gloria Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Koe Nama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Golokananda Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Radha Golokananda Shri Radhe Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham Govardhan Giri Govardhan Shri Vrindavan Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Please read together. All glories to Radha Krishna and the divine forest of Vrindavan. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavan, Sri Govinda, Gopinath, and Madana Mohan. All glories to Shamakunda, Radhakundi, Govardhan Hill, and the Jamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshigat, the Vamsivata tree, and the 12 forests of Vraja. At these places, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Jasoda. All glories to the cowherd boys headed by Sridham. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipuni Muni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Vraja. All glories to Gopishwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend Madhu Mangala. All glories to Ramagata, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastime. All glories to the mellow conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas, and is propagated in Vraja by Sri Krishna in the form of the Priyabhava. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna, sings the Sankirtana of the holy name. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai.
We had a great Harinam yesterday. If you haven't, go on to WhatsApp. You'll see lots of videos. It was a whole lot of fun for us and a whole lot of mercy for lots of folks. Chaitodarpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Charorapi Suhishuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajachim Vachintaya Nainam Gadashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadaradakaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahaneba Vishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Mar